This is another episode of Maverick Mondays, and I'm Kumar Singh from Designed Analytics LLC. Thanks a lot for watching. The Maverick idea that we are going to discuss in today's episode stems from a birthday party that we hosted this weekend for our kid who turned 13 actually, so he's officially a teenager now. So, well, after maneuvering through a lot of police barricades and things like that we are kind of used to at this point, we reached the venue a couple of hours into the party. While my wife was keeping an eye on the kids, I thought maybe it's a good idea to start loading the car with some of the stuff that we are supposed to take back. So as I was stepping out of the venue, there was like nothing. By the time I came back after putting all the stuff in the car, there was this whole security setup there, right? Which was, as I would come to know earlier, checking IDs, right? So I'm an extremely curious person, right? And someone who likes to observe, right? So I observed that they were basically not asking for IDs from everyone. So as I reached there, they asked for ID. As I was pulling out my ID, I asked them, like, just to understand the process, why they were asking for ID. Once they came to know that I was actually already inside, they said, no, you are good, right? But I was still kind of curious, so I had some questions. No, listen to this. The reason they were asking for IDs is that this place has kids, this place also has a bar, right? So they were asking for IDs to make sure that anybody going there is old enough to sit at the bar, right? Now, I should be flattered that they asked for my ID, but I obviously look pretty old, right? But as I was kind of walking back inside, I mean, all this entire process didn't make any sense to me. And that's the problem when I look at many different things about kids' safety in America, right? I mean, let me tell you, every school shooting is preventable, and I can guarantee that if you use technology, if you are able to invest in technology. And that's the idea of Maverick Monday, not just school thing, but in this context also. And like how stupid it is to ask for ID so that you can drink, but there are still kids inside. So somebody basically like goes haywire after like drinking, gets a reaction from any medication they may have taken, and the alcohol level spikes. They may end up doing something violent. What kind of impact it will leave on kids? And how does checking ID at the door to make sure you are legal age or whatever prevents that from happening, right? Should a bar that serves alcohol and a place that kind of caters majorly to kids coexist? Maybe, like, I don't know. Yeah, but how could you actually automate using AI and other technology so that it's not always upon humans to make smart decisions, right? How can you do that? Now, I will quickly touch upon this scenario and then go to the school shooting thing that I just mentioned, right? Because I somehow believe that the most precious resource that any country has, children, is kind of, like, I would say, I wouldn't say they are not taken care of. Every country has the same kind of parents who are very much with their kids. Have you seen women running barefoot towards a school knowing that there is a school shooting going on in the school? Have you seen those videos? So moving. The question is, what are the authorities doing about it? Every parent would happily even give their life for their kids. There are videos out there, and all these examples are from America, of women throwing themselves in front of like cars that suddenly started moving because they were in neutral, so that the car would not run over their kids. So that's the kind of parents even America has everywhere. Parents generally are very much involved in their kids, right? It's the authorities that I believe are kind of failing child safety in many different aspects, right? So in this example, right, smart cameras can help with many different things. First, like, you would obviously design the place in a way that would very strictly demarcate the portion where alcohol is being served from children. But those are the design and layout aspects. Let's not go there and focus just on the technology aspect, right? First of all, you would kind of try to focus on people who did not come there with children, right? Now, in this case, I said, hey, I was already there, and they said, okay, there's no need to see your ID, and then I walked in. I mean, I may or may not have been already there with kids, right? So what's the best way, actually? What's the best way to ensure safety in this scenario? And that's smart cameras, right? There are few different algorithms that you can use. Obviously, detection, face detection, or I wouldn't say exactly face detection. There would be a concept of entity detection and association, right? So if I come in a group, right, I come with my wife and child, I get associated, right, with that group. I move out, I move in, I would be marked, flagged as safe because I have been seen with the child, right? I have been already verified, right? Anybody coming by themselves, the camera would check them to make sure they were, if they have been already associated with a child who is, or a family that's already, or a group that's already inside, right? So those are just examples to like flag people who may be just walking in there to drink. Like, those are the kind of people you would ask for an ID. And the point is, it's still useless asking for an ID because you are not using the ID to do background check. The only thing that an ID can tell you is this person is not from outer space, he exists and of legal age, but it doesn't kind of give any indication on how they would behave once they get inside the place. But let's come back to the school shooting thing. One of the most unusual things a camera can detect in a school is a weapon. The only time a weapon will be considered safe within the school is when it's with a police officer or whatever, like campus police or whatever is the terminology. I'm not sure if there is a police associated with schools. I think there is, because when I was back in Acton, Massachusetts, there was this whole scandal where like the cops assigned to the high school were actually sexually abusing the kids there. So I assume there is some kind of police associated with schools. But so that's the only scenario where a camera would detect, right, based on the appearance, the uniform, that it's safe, right? In some cases, maybe that it would still flag it. But consider a system here as shown here, right? A weapon is detected by any of the smart cameras, right? And every classroom door gets automatically locked, right? And obviously, needless to say, you need to design doors that cannot be kicked into by the shooter. So there would be this whole hardware and software enabled system that comes into play as soon as somebody is seen walking in an alley carrying a gun, right? And in a jiffy, the entire school, every classroom gets locked, and the school administration, the authorities that have already been pre-configured in the system to get notified, will get notified. Imagine the kind of impact it would make. Look at some of the few previous mass shootings, school shootings, right? And you can easily see that something like this can easily thwart any such attempts. It's not rocket science, so I'm kind of surprised that it doesn't already exist in many schools. It should definitely exist. There should be funding available for the schools to kind of buy and install this kind of system. And I'm pretty sure if there is a funding aspect that is created, then there are many startups who can easily create this kind of system and help schools make much more safe, keep the children safe in schools, whether in America or across the globe. Well, that brings us to the end of our episode. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you again tomorrow with another episode of Tuesday Trivia.